The smell of burnt coffee and antiseptic hung thick in the emergency room break area. Maya Torres stared at the vending machine's flickering glow, her scrubs stained with someone else's blood, her dark curls escaping from a messy bun. She wore forest green scrubs that had seen better days, paired with beat-up white sneakers that squeaked against linoleum floors. The shift had been brutal. 16 hours. Her hands still shook from the last code blue. Still here? That voice made her spine stiffen. She didn't turn around. Ethan Park leaned against the doorframe in navy blue paramedic gear, his uniform crisp despite the chaos outside. His black hair fell just slightly over his eyes, that infuriating smirk playing on his lips. A leather jacket hung over one arm. Go away, Park. That's Dr. Park to you now, actually. He stepped into the fluorescent-lit room. Just got my acceptance. Johns Hopkins. Emergency medicine. Of course he did. Maya punched the button for black coffee harder than necessary. Congratulations. The word tasted like ash. You're not even gonna look at me? She whirled around. What do you want? A medal? Validation? We're not friends, Ethan. His jaw tightened. We used to be. That was before. Before what? The vending machine groaned, spitting out her coffee. Maya grabbed it, the heat burning through the cheap paper cup. She finally met his eyes, those dark brown eyes that used to make her believe in forevers. Before you chose her. Ethan's face went pale. Maya, that's not fair. Fair? Her laugh cut like glass. You proposed to Sienna 2 weeks after you kissed me. 2 weeks. So don't talk to me about fair. The break room door swung open. A nurse poked her head in. Torres, Park, we need you both. Multi-vehicle collision on the highway. All hands. They stood frozen, the air between them crackling with 3 years of unspoken words. This conversation isn't over, Ethan said quietly. Yes, it is. But as they rushed toward the ER bay, the universe had other plans. The first stretcher rolled in, the patient's vitals crashing. Maya's hands moved on autopsy, starting compressions. Then she saw his face. Her breath stopped. The patient wearing an expensive suit now soaked in red was Ethan's brother. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as Maya's hands worked mechanically. Chest compressions. Rhythm. Count. Breathe. Someone page Dr. Chen, she shouted, her voice steadier than her heartbeat. And get me AP, now. Ethan stood frozen in the doorway, his face drained of color. His paramedic jacket slipped from his fingers, hitting the floor with a soft thud. That's my brother. I know. Maya didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Ethan, I need you to leave. That's Daniel. I said leave. She looked up, catching his eyes. I've got him. Trust me. The charge nurse pulled Ethan back as the trauma team swarmed. Maya lost herself in the chaos, in the familiar dance of saving a life. 15 minutes blurred into 30. Then 45. Daniel Park stabilized. Maya found Ethan in the same break room, hours later. He sat on the floor against the vending machine, still in his bloodied uniform, head in his hands. The room smelled like stale coffee and desperation. She slid down beside him. Their shoulders touched. He's stable. Surgery went well. Dr. Chen thinks he'll make a full recovery. Ethan's breath shuddered. You saved him. We saved him. Silence stretched between them like a wound. Outside the small window, dawn painted the sky in shades of bruised purple and gold. I never proposed to Sienna, Ethan said finally. Maya's heart stopped. What? She told everyone I did. Showed up with a ring, said we were engaged. I was too much of a coward to correct her in front of our families. He turned to look at Maya, his eyes raw. I was going to break it off. I swear. But then you left for that fellowship in Boston and stopped answering my calls. You're lying. I'm not. Maya stood abruptly, her sneakers squeaking. You married her, Ethan. I saw the wedding photos on Instagram. I married her because you disappeared. His voice cracked. Because I thought you hated me. Because I was a coward who couldn't fight for what I actually wanted. And what was that? Ethan rose to his feet. In the harsh lighting, she could see the exhaustion etched into his face, the stubble on his jaw, the way his paramedic shirt was untucked and wrinkled. You. It was always you. Her phone buzzed. A text message lit up the screen. Maya's face went white as she read it. What? Ethan asked. What is it? She looked up at him, and her expression made his blood run cold. Sienna just texted me. She says congratulations on finally getting what I wanted. Maya's voice shook. Ethan, when exactly did you get divorced? His silence was answer enough. You're still married. The hospital cafeteria was nearly empty at 3 a.m. Harsh white lights reflected off cheap laminate tables. Maya sat across from Ethan, her cold coffee untouched. She'd changed into a gray hoodie over her scrubs, her hair finally freed from its bun and falling in waves past her shoulders. Ethan wore a borrowed black t-shirt, his paramedic uniform bagged for evidence. The stubble on his face had darkened into a shadow. Say something, he whispered. I don't know what you want me to say. Maya's voice was hollow. You let me believe you'd moved on. That you were happy. I filed for divorce 6 months ago. The papers are still processing. It's complicated because of her family's money, the prenup. He reached across the table. She pulled back. Maya, please. Does she know? About us? About that night 3 years ago? Ethan's jaw clenched. She's known from the beginning. That's why she did it. The fake engagement, the social media campaign. She was obsessed with winning. Winning what? You. The word hung between them like smoke. A janitor pushed a mop past their table, the chemical smell of cleaning solution mixing with old grease. Maya's phone buzzed again. Another text. Then another. Her hands trembled as she scrolled. She's posting photos. Old photos of you too. Captioning them like you're still together. Maya's voice rose. Ethan, she's tagging the hospital. She's tagging Johns Hopkins. Let her. I don't care. You should care. Your career, your reputation, this could destroy everything. I don't want Hopkins if it means losing you again. Maya stood abruptly, her chair scraping against linoleum. You can't just say things like that. You can't waltz back into my life and expect me to forget 3 years of silence. Then tell me to leave. Ethan rose too, stepping around the table. Tell me you don't feel this. Tell me that kiss meant nothing. It was a mistake. Liar. They stood inches apart in the empty cafeteria. His hand lifted, fingers brushing her cheek. She should pull away. She should run. Instead, she kissed him. It was desperate and angry and tasted like regret. His hands tangled in her hair. Her fingers gripped his borrowed shirt. 3 years of wanting crashed between them like a wave. Then Maya's pager shrieked. They broke apart, both breathing hard. She checked the screen and her face went pale. It's Daniel. He's crashing. They ran through empty corridors, their footsteps echoing off sterile walls. But when they burst into the ICU, Dr. Chen was waiting with an expression that made Maya's stomach drop. He's stable, Dr. Chen said carefully. But there's something you both need to know. The accident wasn't an accident. Ethan froze. What? The police found evidence of tampering. Someone cut his brake lines. Dr. Chen's eyes moved between them. Detective Morrison is here. She has questions. A woman in a sharp black blazer stepped forward, her badge gleaming under fluorescent lights. Ethan Park? Her voice was professional, cold. I need to ask you about your relationship with your brother. Specifically, about a $2 million insurance policy where you're the sole beneficiary. Maya felt the world tilt. No, she breathed. No, that's insane. But Ethan wouldn't meet her eyes. The hospital chapel was empty except for two people who didn't believe in prayer. Maya sat in the back pew wearing her gray hoodie pulled tight, her green scrubs visible underneath. Ethan paced near the altar in his borrowed black t-shirt and dark jeans someone had brought him, his hands shaking. Rain hammered against stained glass windows, distorting the colored light into something unrecognizable. Tell me the truth, Maya said. Her voice echoed in the small space. All of it. Ethan stopped pacing. Daniel and I haven't spoken in 2 years. Not since he testified at my divorce hearing. Testified about what? About catching me with you. That night 3 years ago. He turned to face her. He walked in right after you left. Told Sienna everything. It's why she's fighting the divorce so hard. Adultery clauses in the prenup. Maya felt sick. So you do have motive. I didn't touch his brakes, Maya. I swear on everything I am. Then why won't you look at me? His eyes finally met hers, and they were full of something that looked like grief. Because Daniel called me yesterday. He said he had proof that would end my career. Medical malpractice. Falsified records. Things I did to protect Sienna's father's pharmaceutical company. The air left Maya's lungs. You didn't. I was young and stupid and thought I loved her. Her father threatened to destroy my medical license if I didn't help cover up some trial data. Ethan's voice cracked. 3 people died because of medications that should never have been approved. I carry that every single day. Oh my God. Daniel was going to expose everything. Go to the medical board, the FDA, the press. I begged him not to. We fought. I told him he'd ruin more than just me, that the scandal would destroy our parents. What did he say? That some things matter more than family. Thunder cracked outside. Maya stood, moving toward him across the chapel's worn carpet. The smell of old wood and candle wax filled her nose. Did you want him dead? She asked quietly. No. Ethan's face was raw. But for 1 second, one horrible second when he told me what he planned to do, I thought about how much easier everything would be if he just disappeared. The confession hung between them like a living thing. The police are building a case, Maya said. The insurance policy. Your fight. The motive. Ethan, you need a lawyer. I need you to believe me. I don't know if I can. Her phone buzzed. A call this time. Unknown number. She answered. Maya Torres? A woman's voice, professional and cold. This is Sarah Chen from the medical board. We need to speak with you about Dr. Ethan Park's conduct. We have evidence that he's been using his position at the hospital to access controlled substances. Your name appears on several requisition forms. Maya's blood turned to ice. That's impossible. I never signed anything. We have your signature. Your employee ID. Either you're involved, or Dr. Park has been forging your authorization. A pause. We're opening a formal investigation. You're suspended effective immediately pending review. The call ended. Maya looked at Ethan, and for the first time, she saw him clearly. The man she'd loved. The man she'd built into something he never was. Did you use my credentials? Her voice was barely a whisper. His silence shattered everything. Get away from me. Maya, please, I can explain. You've been lying from the start. About Sienna. About Daniel. About everything. She backed toward the door. I saved your brother's life and you repaid me by destroying my career. It wasn't like that. I needed the medications for my patients. The hospital pharmacy was too slow and people were dying. I never meant for it to come back on you. But it did. Tears streamed down her face. And you let it. She turned to run, but Ethan grabbed her arm. Let go of me. Not until you hear the whole truth. I've heard enough. I'm in love with you. His voice broke. I've been in love with you since we were residents, since before Sienna, before all of this. And I've destroyed everything good in my life trying to protect a lie. But I am not a murderer. I didn't hurt Daniel. And I will fix what I did to your career if it's the last thing I do. Maya pulled free. Rain poured outside the chapel, the sound deafening. You want to fix it? Her voice was steel. Turn yourself in. Confess everything. The falsified records. The stolen medications. All of it. That's career suicide. Then I guess you'll finally understand what sacrifice actually means. She walked into the rain without looking back. 6 months later, Maya stood in a courtroom wearing a simple black blazer over a white blouse, her dark hair pulled into a professional bun. The wooden benches smelled like furniture polish and broken promises. Ethan sat at the defendant's table in a gray suit that hung loose on his frame. He'd lost weight. His eyes found hers across the room, and she didn't look away. The judge's voice echoed through the space. Ethan Park, you've pled guilty to multiple counts of insurance fraud, document falsification, and unauthorized access to controlled substances. However, your cooperation with federal investigators into Sienna Morrison's family pharmaceutical empire has been noted. Maya's hands clenched. Ethan had done it. He'd turned himself in. Confessed everything. His testimony had brought down a corporation responsible for hundreds of deaths. You're sentenced to 18 months in a minimum security facility, followed by 2 years probation and permanent revocation of your medical license. The gavel fell like thunder. Maya waited outside in the hallway. Rain streaked the windows, blurring the city beyond. Her sneakers squeaked against marble floors as Ethan emerged, flanked by federal marshals. He stopped when he saw her. You came, he said quietly. I almost didn't. I wouldn't have blamed you. They stood in the courthouse corridor, two people who'd loved each other through every wrong choice and shattered dream. Ethan wore handcuffs. Maya wore the restored medical license she'd fought 6 months to reclaim. Daniel woke up last week, Ethan said. Full recovery. He told the police everything. It was Sienna. She hired someone to stage the accident, frame me for it. Tried to destroy us both. I know. Detective Morrison called me. She's facing 30 years. Good. Silence stretched between them. A marshal cleared his throat. We need to go, Mr. Park. 1 more minute, Ethan asked. Please. The marshal nodded, stepping back. Ethan turned to Maya fully. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know I destroyed your trust, your career, everything we could have been. But I need you to know that turning myself in, it wasn't about redemption. It was about finally being the person you believed I could be. Maya's eyes burned with unshed tears. You broke me, Ethan. I know. You lied about everything. Not everything. He held her gaze. Never about loving you. She reached into her bag, pulling out an envelope. Her hands shook as she handed it to him. What is this? A letter. For when you get out. It has my new address, my new hospital, my new life. She swallowed hard. I'm not promising anything. I'm not saying I'll be waiting. But I'm not saying I won't be either. Ethan's breath caught. Maya. 18 months, she said softly. Use them to figure out who you are without the lies. I'll use them to figure out if I can ever trust you again. And if you can't, then at least we'll both finally know the truth. The marshals moved forward. Ethan didn't resist as they led him away. But at the door, he looked back one last time. Maya stood in the courthouse corridor wearing black and white, watching him disappear into whatever came next. Rain hammered the windows. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She didn't know if she'd open the door when he knocked 18 months from now. Didn't know if love could survive the weight of betrayal and sacrifice. But for the first time in 3 years, she knew she'd finally stopped running from the question. Outside, the rain began to slow. Maya pushed through the courthouse doors into gray daylight, her phone buzzing with messages from the hospital. A new shift. New patients. A new life built from the ashes of everything that burned. She didn't look back. But she kept the duplicate of that letter in her pocket, right against her heart, just in case. The end.